The same man tried to hit me at 26 and, thank God for technology. It whipped out that phone.
And now, coming to you from the K2 studios in San Diego, California, it's the world-famous Kris and Kristine Show.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? How you guys doing today? I am Kris.
And I'm Kristine, and welcome to episode 56 of the Kris and Kristine Show.
Do-do-do-do. And that brings up a good old fantastic, and my goodness, it's hot in here.
Yes, it is definitely hot in the studio today. And why would that be, Kris?
Well, our air conditioning unit happens to be missing from the house.
Yes, completely removed.
They took it out, what day? Like last week sometime?
Oh, like 3 days ago, I think.
There's a hole where the air conditioning was and where the water heater used to be. It's a big empty space where they cut the drywall out to the studs, and they cut all that out. You just see framework, and it's just an empty hole. And but we did have some good news about the water heater last week, right, Kristine?
Yes-ish, but before you get to the good news, I think it's important to let everybody know that we are not living in our house right now. Dun, dun, dun.
Well,
we are hotel living right now.
It is hotel living with
Now, is it a hotel or a motel where we're staying?
No, it is actually
it's an inn.
It's a resort. We are staying in a fabulous resort. Although, because of COVID, the pool is shut down, the room service is shut down, the
meal service in general, like the downstairs meal service and the fitness center is shut down.
And that cool lounge bar they have, that's shut down.
Oh, and the maid service only comes once a week.
Oh, yeah. It's more like an apartment.
It is. Actually, it's pretty spacious. It's like 750 square feet, 2 bedrooms, plus a living room, plus a kitchen. And, we are making the most of it, but we did venture back home in the peak of the heat of day just to bring this fantastic episode to you all.
Yeah, you owe us big time for this one because it is hot in this house. There's no air conditioning. We're upstairs where it's extra hot, where the heat rises. And
I thought it was just hot because you were here.
That too. I walk in the room and it just melts everything.
Yes, you melt my heart.
That's true. Hey, ladies, what's happening? But anyways, we're back in the house here and we are doing the podcast this weekend. It happens to be Saturday and it did drop down in temperature a little bit. It's like in the 90s, which instead of the hundreds.
Yeah, it's like mid 90s or something today. But in other important news, Kris, before you talked more about the house stuff, tomorrow, when this episode goes live on Sunday, is the 20th of September. And do you know what that marks?
I have no idea.
The 2-month countdown to wedding day.
I should have known better. I should have known it had something to do with wedding stuff.
Yes, wedding stuff. We're like getting down to like the real countdown. It's the final countdown.
Well, there you go.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, now I'm kind of like thinking maybe we need to hurry up and get this house back together before we have the reception here. Because
that is true.
Because we're having the reception here at the house and in the backyard and all that stuff. But the house is literally like a job site.
It is. Contractor is starting Monday. Like Kris said, the HVAC, the whole central heating and air system, like the units were removed, and the insurance is going to have their people come out because there's some problems with the ductwork. So it's a little bit...
Wait, what's wrong with the ductwork?
Well, they're saying that it doesn't have enough CFMs to...
What's a CFM?
It's like, I think it's like I don't know what it actually stands for, but it's the volume of air that's blown into the system. Has to have a certain dimension to be able to get to the upstairs, because you know how the upstairs is always hot.
Right, but there's an extra vent. There's a vent right there you can see.
Right, but the size of the vent doesn't, like the size of the duct from downstairs from the unit, what they were explaining to me is that it's like, if you think of like water pipes, like if you're going to have like a big water fountain in your backyard, you're going to need a big enough pipe going into it to bring out the right amount of water. It's the same thing for the house. It's like to pump more air in because you're getting a bigger unit, you have to have more ducting. And apparently the initial unit that was put into the house when the house was built, the ductwork wasn't actually the right size to match with that unit.
It's always something around here. It's always some problem or another. So, but we do have some good news, slightly, is that last week, what day was it on when they did the thing?
The water heater was installed on Thursday and Wednesday. Wednesday, they did the plumbing fixes, and Thursday, they installed the water heater.
Right. So we didn't go with a traditional water heater.
We didn't.
We went with the fancy smancy tankless water heater, which happens to sit on the outside of the house with new piping and plumbing and knobs and nozzles and warning labels and all kinds of stuff on the outside. I was just looking at it. And
it's fancy.
What the tankless water heater does, which I didn't really understand this, is when water passes through the system, because there's no tank, water will run through the system, and as it runs through the system, activates like this burner, like super hot furnace or something inside it, or electrodes or something. And it gets super, super hot, and it heats the water to like boiling as it passes through it. Mm-hmm. And then by the time it gets to the faucet, it's hot.
And what that means is that it's not like an old tank water heater where you run out of hot water, that you never run out of hot water. And like the guy was saying, if you wanted to, not that we ever would, but you could leave the faucet on and like go to the beach all day long and come back and it would still be running hot water for you all day long. And so it's also more energy efficient because on a regular tanked water heater, the gas is running to keep that water consistently hot, whereas a tankless, the gas only fires up to meet the need at that time when you turn on a faucet. So it takes the same amount of time to get hot water.
I don't know. I just tried it a minute ago. It seemed like it took forever to get the hot water up here.
But it was our first time up here in this room.
And it didn't smell weird too. You know, the piping, when they do new piping in the house, it always has a weird metallic smell to the water when you have to run it through there. And
it's a good thing that we drink bottled water here.
Right. But when I got the piping done a while ago for the hot water leak we had, like it was last year, the guy told me that, you run the water for a bit and it will smell a little weird at first because I think it has that when they do the piping and they actually weld or whatever. They have that smelly, burning smell or whatever into the pipes.
Yeah, it set off the fire alarm at home.
What? Oh, yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, because they were doing like the soldering.
Soldering, not welding. Soldering, yeah.
Soldering of the metal, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's up and that's running. And right now we got to have the guys do the air conditioning as the next project and then put everything back together. And then maybe sometime in the near future, do the flooring downstairs.
Yeah, we're going to do that. We decided to wait until after the wedding. It's just becoming too stressful. I mean, if you all have been following us for a bit, you know, we had that major upstairs flood. And then now we have the downstairs flood with the garage and everything's a bit of chaos. And then we were facing a potential 5 to 6 week minimum timeline for all of the downstairs flooring where we'd have to move out of the downstairs. And Kris and I just decided like the insurance already gave us the allocation. We're going to wait until after the wedding and getting settled. And then my dad, the wonderful, amazing contractor that he is, has offered to come down and support us with the demo of the old flooring and the install of whatever we choose.
What? No way. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really like a super good, like a family discount or what?
He will install it for us for the cost of materials. And then we just need to we need to assist him.
Oh, okay, cool. So we had to do shopping for the materials, I guess.
No, we've got to assist with the actual demo and the installation. It's going to be a family bonding moment.
Am I going to have to take vacation to do this?
Oh, we'll figure it out. You know, we'll figure it all out.
Well, if we do it during the winter time, like January, February, it'd probably be a lot cooler, so it wouldn't be so hot. Can you imagine any construction job right now is super hot, so it's going to be miserable.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So we're very excited about that. And, you know, this has been a very unfortunate turn of events. And I think that today's guest is going to be able to speak to that a bit, how she was able to take a really unfortunate series of events and capitalize on it to create an entirely new business venture, right, Kris?
Really? A new business venture?
Yep.
Coming from disaster?
Well, yep. Coming out of disaster and out of, I would say, quarantine and into success. And so we're going to hear from her right after this.
Hey there, K2 crew. We love having you as our loyal listeners.
To keep up to date with what's happening behind the scenes, check us out on social media.
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter.
And don't forget to follow our Facebook page.
Yeah, tag us in your favorite fun stories, and guess what? You might just end up on the show.
Ooh.
Once every harvest moon, a talk show comes along that is so groundbreaking, raising the bar to such heights that other podcasts step back and say, wow, that show's got it figured out. With a host, tempered in focus, commitment, and sheer will, this is The Derek Devall Show. Pop culture, news, and interviews with fascinating people that channel the great Edward R. Murrow and Walter Cronkite. The Derek Devall Show. Find him on Twitter and Instagram at Derek Devall Show, and find his new episodes every Wednesday on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Play, and Podchaser. The Derek Devall Show. The best thing to happen to Hump Day since the Geico camel. What?
Today, we have a special VIP guest on the show. She is an entrepreneur, influencer, and CEO of one of San Diego's hottest new companies. Welcome to the show, Victoria Rose.
Ah. So happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Honored.
Welcome to the show, Victoria. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I woke up on the right side of the bed, completing all of my daily goals yesterday and ready to just crush today as well.
And it's Friday, so what a better day to crush stuff than on a Friday.
Yeah. TGIF.
Where in the world are you joining us from today?
I am joining you from my living room in sunny San Diego, which is one of the best parts about my business, which I know we'll get into, but being able to work from home.
You know, a lot of people are working from home. Kristine is working from home. I wish I could work from home, but I can't. But kudos to you.
Thank you. We'll get you there.
Yeah. So now you mentioned working from home. We know that San Diego is a pretty expensive area to live in. Do you rent? Do you own? What's your sitch?
So I'm actually a homeowner. I've been in my place for a year and going on 9 months now. So new homeowner, first time buyer.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I set a goal for myself. I said in my 30th year, I want to be a homeowner, and I did it. So I found a little fixer upper condo and gutted it and remodeled it. And now it's my glam cave.
Oh, I like that.
Wait. You said a glam cave? Is it
Glam
like a man
cave.
Okay, it's like a man cave, but for chicks, right?
Why does it always have to be a man cave? No, it's a glam cave. It doesn't have to be like a man cave. It's my girl spot, my girl zone.
Well, that's fantastic.
I like that. It's kind of like the version of like the she shed that I heard.
She shed, yes.
but a whole house. But kudos to you for purchasing
Thank
your
you.
home. I know Kris and I have talked before about what it actually takes to be able to purchase your own home in San Diego as a single person, because he went through that journey.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
I'll be honest with you. It took a long time. I mean, I started looking in January 2018, and I didn't actually end up closing until January 2019. So an entire year it took in order for this to finish.
Why was that?
Yeah, the reason being is because I'm somebody who knows what I want. I am like every person's best customer, I guess, in a way, because I take the creativity out of it. You don't need to think for me. I think for myself. I tell you exactly what I want and how I want it. But it's kind of like a gift and a curse, because if I don't find exactly what I want, I won't go for it. So I knew I wanted something priced low. I knew I wanted something that was needed to be a complete and total gut job, because I knew that I wanted to make it exactly what I wanted to my liking. And it's expensive in San Diego. So I needed to find something low enough that would allow me the budget to do the renovations I wanted.
Right. Now, when you first got started, was it being very difficult? Was the market kind of like hard to find places that you really, really wanted to find? And that, so the whole process took a year? Was that just a searching for the thing, or is that just cleaning
it? It was searching. Yeah. So the actual renovation itself, it was only supposed to be about a month, but when you hire family as your contractors, they don't tend to prioritize your project.
They're the best.
So it went a little longer than that. It was closer to like 2.5 months for the reno. Because my condo is small. I mean, 663 square feet. But, they say when buying, location is everything. So that's part of it too. So, I wouldn't say I'm living in the greatest area, but I did that on purpose. I come from Jersey originally. I'm a born and raised Jersey girl. I've been here. It'll be 5 years next month. And so I know what rough areas are, and I can guarantee and promise you that there is no real hood in San Diego, even though I know many people will argue with me on this, but I've lived in the hood. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So in the area that I live now, it's mid gentrification. It's right outside of North Park. So it's in an area that I think 5 years down the line, my investment will be worth, maybe 5 times what I paid for it. And I did that very intentionally, knowing that my first property I'm buying is an investment property.
That's awesome. Now, you mentioned that you were a Jersey girl, so I don't hear like the stereotypical Jersey accent. Did you ever have that?
Ask me to say coffee.
Coffee? Coffee.
It comes out on certain words. So, or when I'm really mad from what I'm told, that's what it comes out. But I mean, I grew up in central Jersey, so the state is separated into 3 different areas, very small state, but this is how you're categorized and defined based on where you live. You're either from North New Jersey, Central New Jersey, or South Jersey. And based on where you live might be, you know, whether or not you call a sub or a hoagie or a pork roll or Taylor ham. Like, it's funny because the state is very segregated, very divided. I grew up mainly in Central Jersey. I lived all over. I had a rough childhood and moved around a lot. But then after I went to college in Seton Hall, and that is in North Jersey. And I stayed out that way after I graduated. And I worked, all the jobs I had pretty much were North Jersey, like close to the city, to New York.
Well, I got a really, really important question about New Jersey. And that is, how do you feel about Jersey Mike's?
Jersey Mike's. Oh, man. So this is the thing, right? I would never have a Jersey Mike sub if I lived in Jersey still. I wouldn't even touch it. It's like, it's a disgrace, okay?
Oh, is it?
But then coming to San Diego and there's nothing remotely close. Well, I did come across Mona Lisa's in Little Italy.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, I mean, they import all their stuff. That's the reason why, right? But if I want an Italian sub, which that's used to be my favorite food. I kind of grew out of it, but that used to be my favorite. No matter what, I had to have at least one Italian sub a week. Okay. Now, you know, Jersey Mike's, I'll eat it when I'm really craving it, but it doesn't get the job done. But I'm thankful and gracious to at least have that.
Right.
Is it close enough though? Is it pretty close?
No, it doesn't even, it's not even remotely close.
Well, they got the name. The name is in it, I guess. They got that part. That's about it.
That's what happens when you take something that was done well in Jersey and you decide to go and franchise it in other places. You water it down.
It's like Olive Garden and Italian food, right?
For sure. That's exactly what it's like.
Olive Garden got started in Italy. It's what I've seen it.
I would have never guessed that. I'll tell you that right now.
Now, what brought you from Jersey to San Diego?
Originally moved out here to be closer with family. So I had mentioned I had kind of a tough childhood growing up. So this is probably more of a long-winded answer, but I'll try to run through it quickly. So born and raised by a single mom from the time that I was 15. From when I was born until 15. She was awesome, amazing mom, like literally superwoman. And then, I don't know, she like met a really bad man and she like lost herself, you know, he was abusive. She got addicted to drugs and alcohol. You know, the abuse went beyond just her into me. And I landed in a shelter and then foster care, shelter for 2 months, foster care from 16 to 18, and was adopted 3 days before I turned 18. The family that adopted me, my foster family, didn't exactly have the right motives. Completely pretty much lost touch with them while I was in college. I mean, they showed up for my graduation like, yay, that's our Marquez girl. And it's like, you had nothing to do with this. You didn't even show up for when I made Dean's List, but okay. And then, you know, just at some point, somewhere in there, I completely cut off all communication with them just because I learned the power of boundaries and, you know, preserving and protecting your peace. And then I reconnected with my bio mom. What was that? I was like 26, I think, and decided to move in with her and help her out. She was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and it was at the fatal stage. So she was bedridden and wheelchair bound, had to be fed. And the man that broke up our family, she ended up marrying him. And so, you know, had a really difficult conversation with him where it was like, hey, he came to me like, I'm sorry for everything I ever did to you. I found God. I'm a changed man, and I am a believer. And if God can forgive, like, how can I not? And so I forgave him for everything. And I had an option. I was in a 5-year relationship, and you know, that came to an end, and I had the option, do I go out and get another apartment by myself, or do I move in with my mom and help take care of her and make up for the years we lost? And I went with that option. And lived with her for about a year. And, they say if someone shows you their true colors, the first
Believe
time
it the first time, right?
believe them. Yeah. And so 26 years old, the same man tried to hit me at 26. And, thank God for technology. It whipped out that phone like, I'm recording you. And that's the only thing that saved me.
Wow.
And then,
So wait. You recorded him hitting you?
I pretended to. He wasn't smart enough to know that the phone wasn't that fast enough to get the camera open.
I know.
But that's what stopped him from, going forward, because he was about to lunge at me. And
right.
So then at that moment, at that specific moment in time, I decided I'm out of here. And so I gave my mom an ultimatum. I told her, I said, listen, I make enough money. I do well for myself. Like, I can take care of us. I can pay this mortgage between my salary and your Social Security disability. Like, I got us. We don't need him, and their relationship had gone through a lot. I mean, he was incarcerated for domestic violence. She had a restraining order. And like any other abusive relationship, none of that stuff sticks,
Right.
So I said, if you kick him to the curb, I got us. And unfortunately, she chose him. And
man.
I said, well, I'm going to San Diego. I'm moving to San Diego. I need family. I know that that's what I'm wanting. That's my greatest desire in life right now. That's the most important thing to me. And I have an extended family here in San Diego, second cousins, great uncle, great aunt, big Italian side of the family, that my mom's side of the family out here. And I said, I'm going to move out there. I'm going to start all over, and I'm going to bond myself with my family, because I'm getting to that age where I feel like I need that support system. And so I sold whatever I could, packed up whatever fit in my little, 4-door coupe. Well, it's a sedan, but 4-door coupe is what they call it, because it's really small. And I drove 3,000 miles across the country and started all over.
You drove here by yourself?
No, I had my sorority sister with me, but we did it in 2.5 days, because we're not like road trippers. Like, we just wanted to get to San Diego. I wanted to show her as much of my new city as possible while she was here, and then she flew back.
So you guys, when you guys drove out here, do you guys take turns? Like, you drive, I sleep?
Yep. Well, no, nobody slept while we drove, so we kept
2
each other
days
up.
straight?
No, we only stopped to sleep, but we would get our 7-8 hours and then right back on the road. That was
got it.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, I thought maybe you just guys powered through. Like, I'm sleeping.
No. That's dangerous.
you ever seen the movie Dumb and Dumber, where they did that and then it went the wrong direction?
Yep, that's why you don't do things like that.
So my dad and I did that one time when I moved back from Missouri, and he was like, we're not getting a hotel. We're just going to pull to the side of the road if anybody gets that tired. And I remember I was so tired driving. Mm-hmm. And I was starting to fall asleep, and I went to pull over to the side of the road, and he was like, nope, I'll hop in and we're going to keep going. I'm like, Dad, I'm so tired. But we drove Missouri to Fresno straight through without stopping to sleep, other than for restroom and meals. But we did it in I don't know, 18 hours or something like that.
Wow.
That's impressive. I had a girlfriend in college that did that, and unfortunately she fell asleep behind the wheel, and thank God her and her mother still have their lives, but she completely totaled her car. So I learned from a really young age never to try that.
Right. Well, you got here to San Diego and you got settled in, and then you had to look around and figure out what you wanted to do to support yourself. So what was that first job you landed in San Diego?
Oh, geez. So I had my first business administration role in Jersey right before I left. I was new to that field. I had started off in corporate finance, and then I found myself laid off, and then kind of just came across this opportunity in business administration. On paper, it didn't look right, but financially I was making a lot more money. But when I got that urge and that desire, the need to be around family and everything happened back home, and I decided to move, I quit, and my boss was nice enough. He said we had a great relationship. He's like, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to, what is it called? Say that there's not enough work for you to do. So
lay you off, basically.
Laid off. Yeah. So that way you have an opportunity to collect unemployment and figure it out when you get there. So I thought, it's not going to be hard at all. I have a degree from Seton Hall. I have years of experience. I'm a professional, I found myself unemployed for almost 7 months before I landed my first role. And I wanted to stay in business administration because I realized I liked that way more than corporate finance. And I ended up having to settle for a position making the same amount of money. And I'll tell you how much it is. 50 grand, right? I had to settle for 50 grand, which is the same amount of money that I was making in the first job that I had when I graduated college back in Jersey after Seton Hall.
So you feel like you went backwards? You went backwards in...
I took an $18,000 pay cut.
Yeah.
After being unemployed for 7 months. I mean, that was an ego hit.
It does happen. I mean, you waited 7 months before you went and took that dive.
Well, because I was trying to hold out and see if I could replace what I was making back in Jersey. But I came to realize that, we live in what they call the sunshine tax here in San Diego. Everyone wants to live here.
Right.
It's expensive to live here. But because the demand is here, employers know that they can pay you bottom dollar just because you want to live and work here.
Right. It is very expensive to live here. And now, speaking of employment, do you find that as far as housing goes, do you find the housing market to be very par to what Jersey was like, or is it way more expensive here?
You know what? Depending on where in Jersey you're at, if you're in South Jersey, close to the shore, it's a way more affordable. Like the closer you get to Philly, the closer or the less expensive it is, because we call that like country, right? Country bumpkins. Sorry for my South Jersey people, but you know how it is, But anything Central Jersey and up, I would say Central is still kind of affordable. Once you get to North Jersey and you're right on the outskirts of New York, the prices are almost spot on. It's exactly the same. I will say you get more space in San Diego, though. You live in a closet when you live in the city, and in some places in Jersey. Yeah.
Right. I seen, what's that show that was popular in New Jersey?
Jersey Shore.
No, the guy with the cakes. What was his name?
Oh, Ace of Cakes?
Oh, Cake Boss.
Cake Boss.
Yeah.
Cake Boss. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So you got your first job, and since then you've been able to secure some other types of roles. But what is that experience like serving as, you mentioned being in business administration and an executive assistant? What is that experience like for you as a single young woman?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Kristine. So I don't know if it's a San Diego thing, and I hope this doesn't come back and bite me in the booty later by saying this, but I don't know. Working in business administration back in Jersey, I didn't experience what I've experienced since I've been in SoCal. And so, as a single young woman working in this field, at least in the corporate setting, I've come across a lot of challenges, and it's all been related to the way that I look, believe it or not. So many times we talk about discrimination in the workplace, based on skin color, based on gender, based on, religion or just race in general, right? And what I experience a lot in the few roles that I've had here in SoCal in a corporate setting is, people not taking me seriously in my role because I'm commonly referred to as, oh, she looks like a Kardashian, or, people making snide comments like, oh, she only got hired, especially if it's a male boss, because the boss has a hard on for her. And it's super, what is the word that I'm looking for?
Take you aback a little bit?
Yeah, it takes me aback, but it's like, oh, it's super insulting. That's the word I was looking for. It's super insulting to hear these things because I come with an Ivy League education. I come with an unmatched skill set. I have been told by, bosses across the board that I have been the best EA that they've ever had, and they would never be able to find a replacement as me. So, you're always going to have people making comments, and, you're going to have the haters, you're going to have the people that doubt you, and so on and so forth. But man, when I tell you, like, it got to a point in my last two roles where I felt like it was affecting my work performance, because in my one role, my bosses were hypersensitive to my image, right? Because they know how I look. And so I was getting all this extra coaching on certain things I said, because it was like, well, remember how you look, Victoria. You want people to take you seriously. All because we're in a planning session for like a holiday, the holiday party. And I say, well, who have you used in the past for DJs and bartenders, in this venue? I have some connections with some local DJs and bartenders that I might be able to get us a better rate. But because of the way that I look, I'm coach at, moving forward, you might want to say, I have some connections, in the industry rather than
Right.
like saying bartenders or DJs specifically. Whereas like I know someone else, like my colleague who was sitting in the meeting with me, if she would have said something like that, would have never gotten that same coaching,
Right.
you know? And even in my last role, so like I didn't lose my job because of COVID. Okay. Ooh, shocker. The
Right.
alert, right? So here's the real deal. Here's the tea. Okay. So I actually lost my job just before COVID hit. So
Oh,
February
wow.
21st was my last day of work. And March is when the world blew up with COVID. And so I wasn't even looking. I mean, I had considered, because of all the hypersensitivity in my role prior about the way that I looked, I was considering, maybe starting a search, but I felt like God did the work for me because I was contacted on LinkedIn by a recruiter. And she was like, hey, I think I have the perfect role for you. You seem like a great fit. Would you be interested? And she kind of wrote like a little description of what this role sounded like. And I'm like, as I'm reading, I'm like, wow, this is my dream job. Like,
Right.
I couldn't have set this up better myself. And so everything fell into place seamlessly. I landed the job. I was invited to who would be my new boss's house for an interview. I met her husband, her kids, like very not traditional, but just felt like warm and welcoming. And, I got a 30 grand pay bump.
Wow.
Sign on bonus. I got, extra week of vacation. I mean, you name it, they sweeten the deal in every which way.
Wow.
And, I'm in the role. I'm loving it. Everything's going great. I'm collecting feedback, in the first couple of weeks, and everything's glorious. And, 6 weeks into the role, so just a little over a month, I'm getting pulled into a room by HR, basically being told, hey, we don't think you're the right cultural fit for this role.
Cultural fit?
Cultural fits.
Wait,
Cultural fits.
So let's talk equity language for just a second. We've been talking a lot at my work about these hidden statements or veiled statements that people will make that really have to do with like race, ethnicity, appearance, and things like that. And one of those things is that word, not the right fit, quote unquote. Like they can't, because they can't nail it down to a specific deficiency and qualification.
Well, that's like a really generic version of saying we don't want you here.
Or like breaking up and saying it's not you, it's me.
Yeah,
like
1,000%. No, but that's literally what it was like. I'm like, I'm in the room with HR and my new boss that I thought I had this amazing connection with, like / mentor, right? And I'm like, but you're breaking up with me? Like literally that's what it felt like. And I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm a softie, like I'm super emotional. I'm not perfect. And I cried in that meeting. Like I lost my composure and ugly cried because I'm like, how does this happen? Like I left a secure job where I was making great money, for this opportunity that seemed like it was a dream opportunity that I felt like was sent by God. And there were so many signs and signals that, this is where I need to be. And then boom, just like that, 6 weeks later, completely unemployed, 6 figures less rich. And, where do I even begin? It's way easier to replace your job when you're already in one. But to then be unemployed.
They always say that. They always say that,
Yeah, because nobody wants somebody who's been unemployed. They think that in that time of unemployment, you've probably gotten lazy, or they think you've been fired, and who wants somebody who nobody else wants? Like it's just all these stigmas around it, And I just figured, okay, I'll bounce back quick. I'll find something. I'm going to leverage the connections that I have. I got a lot of networks, and then COVID hit, and it was completely out of everyone's control.
Well, you're not the only one, though. I mean, a lot of people right now are actually.
Right.
Well, the problem now is I think that extra $600 a lot of people were getting.
Some people were making more with that than what they were.
Yeah, they were making more money, and the employers could not get people to come back to work because they couldn't match what they were doing, sitting on their butt at home, getting paid by the Uncle Sam. Now, when that ran out, I think it was end of July.
Yes.
What are people doing? Do you know what people are doing? Are they freaking out and like just running to anything possible, or are they just trying to hold on?
Yeah, there has been a second stimulus that's been approved, but it's for $400, so it's $200 less than what the other stimulus was, or not stimulus. Boy, I guess it's unemployment stimulus, but it's been approved. I don't think it's gone into effect yet, but Yeah, I mean, we're treading through untapped territory right now. You know, nobody's seen anything like this in their lifetime, and nobody really knows what to do. And I think even though people are anxious and eager to get back to work if they're able to, they're also weary, right? Because it's like, well, is the world going to shut down again? Like, are we going to have a second wave of this? Like, I'd rather have an employment opportunity that I can work from home and not even have to worry about this.
Well, we all would like to do that because a lot of people are home already, doing nothing, watching Netflix, Tiger King, 24/7, and all that fun
I could
stuff.
never get into that show.
Oh, Kristine did. She tried to get me into it, and I was like, "What is this?"
No
okay,
way,
it's like
Kristine.
It's like Nature Channel. It's like Discovery Channel meets Nature Channel, and then like they got a guy killing somebody else or something, or multiple
I would have
love
never
triangle.
had you pinned, Kristine.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
you just got to put me on blast like that, Chris. Betraying all my secrets.
I know, and then Kristine has a poster of Tiger King himself in her room. I don't know what's up with that.
Joe Exotic. Be like, he's going to be the best man at our wedding. No, but so like you made a pivot. So we know that you have this amazing new business, but it seems like you've gone through quite a journey in your entire life that's made you need to be very self-sufficient and figure things out. And I think that from the little tidbits I've been hearing about your business, that couldn't be more true with what you're doing now. So can you tell us about this exciting new venture?
Yeah. Oh, super excited to tell you about it, actually. So, it's been about 6 months, going on 7 months now since I lost my job. When I hit about the 5.5 month marker, almost 6 months, and maybe it was like 5 months actually, I kind of just reflected, like I looked at myself and I was like, okay, I'm tired of feeling sorry for myself now. It's time to find the true Victoria again and take matters into my own hands and take control, because I got ridiculously exhausted with applying and getting rejection after rejection, or just no response at all, or even recruiters saying, hey, like, you're our top candidate, you're one of the best people we have in the market for EAs right now, but people just aren't hiring, and as soon as they are, you're going to be the first person we're going to call. And I'm like, I got tired of waiting. Like I have a mortgage to pay.
Right.
And I have a puppy who's extremely spoiled that needs to maintain this lifestyle.
What's their name? The puppy's name?
His name is Teddy.
Teddy, I love it.
Theodore Roosevelt, Teddy for short. It means God given from a rose field.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I saw this. I was watching this show, Selling Sunset, because that's one of my other Netflix indulgences. I
keep hearing about this show, and everyone keeps telling me to watch it because I remind them of a character on it.
I bet it's Kristine.
Yes, that's the one.
I was just gonna say you guys are like the same person. Well, no, not.
Which
not
one is
that
she
level.
again?
I heard she's kind of bitchy, but I also heard that the show kind of gives her a bad rap, and she's misunderstood.
Is she the new girl? The new girl on the show?
No. She's not the new one, but she's definitely misunderstood. She's one of my favorite.
Well, I don't know. I don't watch it.
But her dog is named Teddy Kruger. And so
that's so funny.
It was really hilarious. But sorry, so back to you. You have a mortgage to pay. You have a new dog.
So I said to myself, you know what? I said, "What? I have a skill set that could be used. And there is a need in the market right now for the skill set that I have." And so I said, what if I took the same thing I did being an executive assistant, but I instead transfer that from the corporate world of supporting, C-suite level executives, CEOs, CFOs, presidents, to now busy entrepreneurs, small business owners, tech startups, athletes, celebrities, high net worth individuals. There is a need for someone of assistance for them. I mean, these people have been limited to a market of, virtual assistants overseas. So the trouble you could run into with that is, different time zones, language barriers, the inability to be the boots on the ground when needed. And so I said, I can offer premium level support services to these people. And I can also build upon my strengths. So I came across a book in my corporate career that they were very much encouraging called Strength Finder, I believe it's called.
Yeah, by Gallup.
Yeah. And so, it's take the things that you're really good at and build on those, right? And so, or take the things that work to your advantage rather. And so I kind of looked at this as okay, well, everyone's judging me in corporate for the way that I look, but I have a look that will actually work for me really well in those aspects. You know, if I'm working with celebrities or if I'm working with high net worth individuals or, you know, athletes or even just, you know, entrepreneurs or small business owners, like they want somebody who looks polished and put together and, you know, is always looking their best. And so I said, this is like a great kind of niche clientele for me. And so I got that idea. That was the birth of Executives Extension, you know, providing premium support services to these folks. We are the entrepreneur's greatest asset. Time is the most valuable asset until you can find somebody who can buy you more of it, which that's where we come in. Everyone needs an extension of themselves. There's only 24 hours in a day, but if you can find somebody who can do the same things you can do or the things you don't want to do so your business can grow and generate more revenue, why wouldn't you have that value add?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So, you know, Kris and I have talked before about how nice it would be to like have an assistant for different types of things, jokingly.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've had one most of my career.
Wait. We all have an assistant. We have an iPhone. Hey Siri, what's up?
No. Who needs an Alexa when you can have a virtual Victoria?
Right?
Oh, is that the next app? Did you have an app?
There's an
Victoria.
app coming.
Okay.
There's an app coming. And hopefully we'll have some time to get into virtual Victoria because that's the next spinoff.
So there you go.
Well, you know, when it comes to an assistant, one of the things that I found as a busy professional is it makes it or breaks it when you have an empowered and forward-thinking type of assistant. And I had one about a year ago. She got promoted within my organization and my life was so much more simplified, like having somebody to help manage my schedules and my appointments. And, you know, if I had to be out in the office, would like text me and let me know like things that were coming up or, you know, do you want me to schedule this for you? Let me handle your travel. And then not having that or having a different type of an assistant, it just makes you like, I just want a really good assistant, you know? And so I could get that, how, especially in this virtual world when we don't get to interact with people, how it's really hard to manage all of the moving pieces. Like you think of calendaring and Zoom calls and appointments that you have to get to. And, you know, for a very busy, high profile celebrity that might have like changed their life being in with COVID.
Do the celebrities, do they normally have more than one assistant or how's that work?
I think it really depends on the celebrity and it depends on, you know, their schedule and what's going on. So, I mean, a lot of times people have like managers, right? Celebrities will have like managers and then that manager will work with an assistant to do specific things. So, there is no real like outline. You know what I mean? It's really just person dependent. But if you are a really good assistant and you prove to them that you can be that way, then they'll start to trust you with more things. And then it will all start to be kind of, you know, solidified into one person.
Yeah. No, so this is super interesting to me because I'm thinking about this and I'm thinking about, you know, you're one individual and you have a limited amount of time. And so I'm thinking about Executives Extension and the fact that it's a business. It makes me think that maybe there's more than just you involved in this or will be. So like, what is your growth model?
Kristine, you are a genius.
I tell her that all the time.
You picked a good one, Kris.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You know, it didn't take me long to come to that realization too, because I said, all right, you know, really how Executives Extension was birthed, and I'll backtrack a little bit, is I said, you know, one executive or one entrepreneur can't really replace my 6-figure salary that I was making. But if I were to split that up into, you know, 3 different people, because, you know, in corporate, I was supporting anywhere from 2 to 3 executives at a time anyway. You know, an entrepreneur, a small business owner, they could afford like my salary split into 3. And that was like their original business model that I came up with was, you know, how can I replace the 6-figure salary I was making in a way that makes it affordable for people outside of corporate? But then shortly I started to realize like, wow, this is a coveted service. Like people need this. And there's more than just 3 people that need these services. And so that's when Virtual Victorias was birthed. And so basically what that is, you know, tagline, who needs an Alexa when you can have a virtual Victoria? But when I did my soft launch for Executives Extension and kind of established like a social media presence, I had an outpour of support and just an interest from, I had that in one single day, I had 19 individuals reach out to me and say, I would
Wow.
love to work with Executives Extension.
Wow.
And that
Wow.
was just off of my social media soft launch. My website wasn't even live yet. And I said, wow, there are so many people that are affected by COVID right now that are out of work. And I mean, I'm not going to name drop, but one specific individual, this person stands out to me the most, and I'm super excited to work with her in the future. But she is a former Rockette, okay, in New York City. She danced with the Rockettes and everything. But because of COVID, they canceled the show this year. She was getting ready to retire from her dancing career anyway. And so she reached out to me and said, I saw that you're going to be offering training. I'm ready to start a new career. I'm ready to learn a new skill. How can I get involved? How can I get on board? And so that's when I started thinking, I can create an online course that will teach people how to become a virtual assistant. And, the software that I'm looking into right now, it has these amazing features where there's graded quizzes and, a certificate upon completion, and, it's go at your own pace. And so I'm diligently working on building the framework for that right now, but I will be offering a free webinar that you can sign up for and kind of get little skinny up front. I'll give you a little free information, and then at the end you'll be prompted to sign up to learn the skill set to become a virtual assistant. And it's basically going to be a course that's going to allow you to learn everything that I've learned in my corporate career, supporting major decision makers, leaders of multi-billion-dollar companies. I'm going to solidify that, make it super simple, break it down for you to understand in my course. And then you have the ability to then work from home and make six figures from the comfort of your own home, or take spontaneous trips and, still be able to generate revenue while you're traveling. I
like that. Hey, what can I start? I want to do that.
Honestly, I see so much room for growth in this, and it has the possibility and potential to just go viral and get so big, because pretty much anyone can do it. You have to just really be dedicated. You have to be service oriented. You have to have that kind of a mindset of just wanting to help others be successful, partnering with people, having a collaborative mindset, and also just, being organizational, right? Being able to put things into an organizational way, so that way it's easily transferable to your executive and aids and supports them. So, if you have these qualities and, you have the desire to work from home and you're a hustler and a go-getter, I mean, this course is going to give you all the fundamentals of, how to get it done. And then from there, I can help with securing your first client contract under Executives Extension, because Virtual Victorias is the exclusive resource partner of Executives Extension.
That sounds amazing. And what I love so much about this, as I've been listening, and I know you're located in California also, is it sounds like with this certification program that it's allowing you to train and empower independent contractors in a way that's still compliant with AB5, which I know has
What is that?
That's this new legislation that came out that's really been impacting Lyft and Uber. And lots of independent contractors are no longer quote unquote independent contractors. Their companies having to make them employees. And a lot of freelancers don't want to be an employee.
Right. Absolutely.
And so it sounds like the model that you've come up with is really a unique take on the compliant ways to offer independent contracting services by also guaranteeing a certain level of quality.
Yes, you hit the nail on the head, Kristine, and with that, absolutely. And the other benefit it is on the executive side, right? So the person who is hiring us to be the contractor for them as their assistant, because if they were to hire a regular assistant in a corporate atmosphere, or even just for their company, you're looking at hiring an employee too, right? So you have
benefits, all of that,
overhead costs, benefits, the payroll taxes that they pay on having an employee, all that. So they can bypass all of those, big hits for having an employee on payroll by just having an assistant that's on retainer, and that they're billing that, I bill my executives as a consultant. And then the people that would be learning under Virtual Victorias would be doing the same. They would be billing as a consultant.
That's amazing. Well, you have come up with a great way to make lemonade out of lemons with all of COVID happening and everything that happened in your career. And it looks like it wasn't a setup for failure, but a setup for success. And so we want to congratulate you on your new business.
Thank you.
We have listeners from around the world with a lot of different backgrounds. So for our listeners, where can they find out more about you as an individual and your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am on all major social media platforms. So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I don't do the Twitter.
Why not?
I've never really been a fan of the Twitter.
Twitter's
that
awesome.
might change. I'm considering getting on the Twitter.
I'll help you. I'll help you out. I'll hold your hand through the whole process. It's real easy.
Okay. Would you promise to tweet me every day?
Yes, I will. Kristine will vouch for that.
Yeah, he does. That's it. That's his social media addiction is Twitter. But
Got it.
So you're on Facebook and Instagram. On Instagram
and
LinkedIn. Are you at Executives Extension, or how do people find you?
Yeah. So on all of those platforms, Executives Extension across the board. And this is executives with a plural. So with an S at the end. Executives Extension, just like that on all three. Would love for you to connect with all of you, just follow, like, comment, reshare, repost, all that. Another thing, and I know we're coming close to probably having to wrap up here, but, I mentioned that for Executives Extension, and then Virtual Victorias is, Virtual Victorias with an S at the end. They're all linked together. You'll see it on, my personal page. If you follow my personal, which is the.glamb, the glam. And I just quickly wanted to mention this, Kristine, I hope, and Kris and Kristine, I hope this is okay. But I also decided to start a nonprofit that's linked up to all this as well. So you guys heard a little bit about my story and kind of what I've been through in the past. And I'm all about giving back. And, God's the center of my world. I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. And I owe it all to him. And so I created a nonprofit called The Glam Design, and that's, again, GLAMB, and it stands for Growing, Learning, Achieving, Motivating, and Believing. And this is an organization that is, dedicated to empowering women, underprivileged women, to success.
That's amazing.
That sounds fantastic.
Thank you.
So it sounds like what you've done is not only just take lemons and turn them into lemonade, but you're really figuring out how to scale resiliency. And so on that note, Victoria Rose, we want to thank you so much for profiling your business on the Kris and Kristine show. And we can't wait to see you on the Forbes top 100 list of companies.
Let's put it into existence, please, Lord.
And we will frame that, and we'll put it here in the studio in a little frame, your magazine cover.
Yep.
How do you like that?
I love it. I love it.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Victoria.
So happy to be here with you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm Brucker.
I'm Levi.
And together we co-host a movie podcast called Film on the Rocks. On our movie podcast, we like to have fun with movies, and we don't like to break down movies beat by beat, scene by scene. We like to talk about what was fun about them. So we talk about our favorite scenes, sprinkle in some trivia. We debate whether or not they deserve a sequel. And we also talk about some drinking rules that they can have, such as drink every time Vince Vaughn stuffs his face in Wedding Crashers.
Or something we call the Yoda clause, which is every time Frank Oz jumps on a screen, finish your drink. You can find us on Google Podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or really anywhere you can find podcasts, if this sounds interesting to you.
Yes, and we also love listener interaction, and we also like to take movie requests. So you could reach out to us on Twitter at Film on the Rocks, Instagram, Film on the Rocks Podcast, or email us at fotrpodcast@gmail.com. Hope to hear from y'all.
Give us a listen.
I just love when we hear people that have the entrepreneurial spirit, don't you?
I absolutely do. And I kind of have it myself, too, although I haven't pulled the trigger on any of my businesses yet. But we're working on it, someday.
Well, it does. You're right. It takes a lot of courage to be able to step out and to make that first leap. And, entrepreneurs, they risk failure every day. But the thing is, when they face it, they look at failure as failing forward, like learning from it and continuing to move forward.
I was just thinking about something the other day, how there are a lot of people out of work right now, and there's a lot of businesses that are failing, a lot of restaurants. I just heard the other day that Dave & Buster's, the big Dave & Buster's, business is going out of business.
No, that's why they were closed yesterday. Zeke and I tried to go for dinner.
They filed bankruptcy.
No.
Or they're going to, or they did. I don't know. I don't know the details, but that's what I heard. And places like that are closing down. So, what's funny is that I heard a news story about a restaurant, and it gets me because the owner, it was a family-owned business, dad and son. The news was talking to them about possibly closing down again because they've been closed before during the beginning of COVID, opened back up, and they closed them back down. Now they're saying we got to close you guys down again, and they are going to defy the order of closing down. They're not going to do it.
Wow.
And a lot of businesses are joining them in this fight to not close down because they literally cannot survive. They are already down to 10% or 25%. They let go of 40 employees. And so they are really, really struggling right now. And if they close down again, they're done.
Yeah. This has been such a difficult season for millions and millions of people, and not just in the US, but around the world. And I think of people like Victoria and how even when they felt like they were getting kicked while they were down with COVID coming around and everything, figure out a different way to find success and independence. And I think that part of it is where we're at with technology in this country, where we're able to do so much more than imagine if all of this COVID stuff had happened 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when technology wasn't as advanced. How would people remote work?
A dial-up modem.
I know. Can you even imagine? And, I don't wish this on any of us ever again, but I do know that there is going to be something good that will emerge from all of this, and we will recover as a country. It might take us a while to rebound, but we will recover and we will be stronger. And I say that for us in our home and the chaos we're going through. And I know for Victoria and her business that it's a fantastic business model. It's brilliant, really.
Right. I was thinking about this too, is that if you can figure out a way to generate an income, have a job all by yourself, whether it's a business that you make on your own or not, and not have to leave the house, that is brilliant as far as I'm concerned. And I think a lot of people are starting to look in that direction because the typical jobs, the typical going into like my sister, for example, she works as a cigarette waitress at a casino. Well, the casino reopened, but they got limited staff and they got rid of smoking in the casino.
Right.
Which pretty much eliminated her job just like that. And now she's sitting on unemployment. She's just riding the unemployment train. And
I wouldn't say that. I would say that she is working on home educating her kids. She's not riding the unemployment train,
well,
Chris.
Of course, what I'm saying is that I think she did apply at a few other places, restaurants, things of that nature. But the restaurant business is not really popping right now.
I know. Well, I was actually down in downtown San Diego last night, and I was taking Zeke for dinner because the hotel where we're staying at is in downtown San Diego. It's 20 minutes from our house. But it was crazy busy. You would think that COVID was not even a thing. There was very few people with masks, but there were thousands of people. Every restaurant had lines outside of it, people standing. And then I was like, what's going on? Well, it's because inside of the restaurants, they can only be at 25% capacity.
Yes.
But they've shut down all the streets, and they have these cute, cafe tables with little canopies and lights over it. All of India Street and Kettner down in Little Italy is closed down. People are walking everywhere. Every place was packed.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was like I thought a street fair was going on or something.
They had their masks on, right?
No.
In line, you have to have your mask on.
No. People were waiting outside, maskless.
Oh my goodness.
It wasn't until they walked into the restaurants or into the line for the restaurants that they actually put their masks on. But they're lingering around on the streets. There was skateboarders all over the place, little bird scooters going everywhere. And, things are starting, like you're saying, people are starting to defy the rules, and they're just they're tired of it.
I think they are. And like I said, small businesses are really going to start suffering. And I think that people really need to start thinking outside the box like Victoria did. Mm-hmm. And they need to figure out a way to generate an income that's legal and that's something that can work. And there are a lot of businesses that are thriving in this environment.
It's very true. When we think of how big innovations come around, they're typically spurred by some type of major event. And so typically after the Great Depression, there was this massive recovery within the United States of new ideas, and there was new types of art and music and careers. I'm wondering if we're going to start seeing the same thing now.
Well, we did see a little big surge in podcasting come up in the last 4 months, like a billion new podcasts came
Right.
up. So, but I think those are just people that are bored at home and they want to try something fun. Now, I hope a lot of those guys stay around and stick to it. It'd be great if they do. So,
right. But, I just want to look back on this in a year and think of where we're going to be. And I'm really excited to see in the next couple of months what types of innovative businesses and products and maybe even like technology solutions or approaches to educating kids that come about as a result of this. Because that's one of the other things is kids haven't been in school for like 7 months. They're just starting to go back. And some of the kids are saying they actually felt like they learned better when they were at home in their own home environment. And parents are saying, well, this actually works better for us because we can travel and vacation and our kid can log in from school anywhere in the world.
I never thought about that. I'm always thinking about the person that's staying at home, that's trying to work at home, trying to run a business, remote stuff from home, and they got the kids in the background swinging from the chandelier, and you're trying to wrangle them, and then you got to do your own work, and you got your own meetings, your own Zoom stuff.
Right.
Didn't you hear a story about a lady got fired or something because her kids were in the background she was working from home, and she was told she had to work from home, and she had a meeting, and then a kid was in the background doing something, and the boss or whatever, they saw that, and she got in trouble.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think she might have got fired from it too. But
that's crazy.
That's wrong, but
But they're like, think about it for us. Had we kept our wedding in Hawaii and the kids were still like distance learning on the computer, we wouldn't have even had to put them on quote unquote independent study. We could have just packed up the laptops, opened them up for a couple of hours, let them do their online schooling, and then, gone out to vacation. So, I'm just very interested to see how this is all going to pan out over the next several months. And I'm excited to see businesses like Victoria's and where they're at a year from now and how innovative they've become with this new type of environment where people are teleworking more.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds great. And I think good luck to everybody out there that's listening. And by the way, thank you for listening to this podcast. We both really, really appreciate it. And good luck to you. If you happen to be unemployed right now, or happen to be out of work, or happen to be, the result of, the pandemic has really got you down, keep your chin up,
Right. We're not trying to say like it's not hard right now or create a silver lining, but what we are saying is that something good is going to come your way. We know it. We believe in it. We're believing it for you. We want to encourage you. Get out there. Email us at krisandkristinepodcast@gmail.com. We're here to support you. We love our listeners, and anything that we can do to encourage you or brainstorm with you to help you come up with the next executive's extension type of business like Victoria, we're here for you, right, Kris?
That's right. And if you do, please credit us on helping you figure that out, because we'll take the credit for that. Thank you very much.
Yep. And so thanks for sticking with us, and we will see you all back here next week. Remember this week that life is too short to wake up in the morning with regret.
So love the people who treat you right, forget about the ones who don't, and believe that everything happens for a reason.
If you get a chance, take it. If it changes your life, let it. Nobody said that it would be easy.
They just promised it would be worth it. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kris.
And I'm Kristine. And until next week,
keep moving forward.